everyone, it's Faith. I have something exciting today, something I've been waiting for a really long time to get my hands on, and I cannot wait to show it to you. So I have read tarot cards for basically ever, my whole life, and I kind of have a problem collecting decks. It's probably like pretty common in the tarot world to like have way more than just one deck. I tend to read with maybe 4 of them, but I have dozens. Today, I have a new deck that I'm really excited to show you. This is super exciting. Okay, this is the Marigold Tarot from Untitled. She is an artist out of Canada, I'm pretty sure. She does a really great illustration series I've seen on Tumblr, on Facebook, all around, called Shitty Horoscopes, and I believe there's an art book, and I think she does zines also, but she put this deck up on Kickstarter, I think last year sometime, and I was so excited. It features her illustrations, it's a full 78 card deck, and I just got my hands on it last week. I've already started reading with it. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. But I want to show it to you, talk a little bit about what I love most and what I don't really love so much. Starting with the box. So I know that one of the I think one of the stretch goals on Kickstarter was that if enough people backed it, she was going to make the 2-part like deluxe box instead of like a full tab box. But I don't love it. It's sticky, hard to use, which is why the cards are not in there right now, because I've been actively using them. It's a fussy little detail. I think it's because this paper is like coated, like laminate coated. It's glossy. I do love the gold foiling, although it's really hard to see on camera. Each of the suits that she has used is on the sides. And that's another thing that I'm going to talk about, you know, the name of the tarot, and then the back just basically says 78 card tarot deck rooted in life, death, and gold, illustrated by Marigold. So the suits, I'll start off with that. So rather than pentacles, cups, wands, swords, she uses rings instead of pentacles, skulls instead of cups. Swords are daggers, or I guess they could be swords still, and marigolds are wands. So let me show you the actual deck, which I have here in this very nice suede, is it suede? No, I'm sorry, velvet sack that I got some great incense in. Charcoal on my dress. So the back of the deck, and I do like this because I do read reversals. They are reversible, so you can't really tell which side is up, which side is down. They do have a texture on the paper. I don't know if you can really see. It kind of is like a linen-y texture, although it is laminated. So they are like playing card stock. So they're not super, super thick. You can still shuffle them, but they're not super, super flimsy where they're going to kind of be destroyed in a number of readings. I know readers who would much prefer a heavier deck, but I don't particularly personally mind. They are a little slippery because of that like laminate, I guess, on them. But again, I know that once I start reading with them more regularly, that'll probably start to wear it down a little bit. The printing is kind of a metallic. It's not a foil. She did do a version of them with foil, I believe, but I did not back that tier. I just got the standard because I knew, again, that if there was foil on the sides or foil on the actual print, I would probably end up with them flaking on me after a few reads. I am a little hard on my cards, I have to admit. I do shuffle like a poker player. I don't shuffle in neat piles or do the sorting thing. They just get too away from me that way. It's unruly. I don't know. Personal taste. We'll start with the suits. Again, you have the swords, which are swords, daggers. You can see that metallic looks really nice on the camera. The line work is really delicate, which I really like. The minors are not fully illustrated, as you can see, because this is the Seven of Swords, and it's literally 7 swords. You do have to know tarot meanings to use this, like a Marseille deck or any of the like older decks. This isn't really a Rider-Waite style illustrated pit deck, which I'm okay with. I've studied it long enough, it's okay. But I did post these on Facebook a couple days ago. I read at an event with them, like first day I got them, and one of the first comments I got was, how is anyone supposed to use them if they're not fully illustrated? And I'm just like, wands, as I said, are flowers. Although it's the Marigold deck, most of the flowers do seem to be roses. That's just a thing. Here's the 7 of Wands. You can see they're like herbs. I'm not sure exactly what kind of flowers they are. I believe she did a book of like explanation for other tier levels or plans on doing them. I will put information below if you really want this deck and want to see where you can get it. I believe she's going to be reprinting it and putting some on Etsy, but as of right now, she's still working on getting out all of the cards for the Kickstarter backers. Then we have cups, which as I said are skulls. This is interesting to me. This is where it kind of starts to deviate from my personal opinions on like tarot interpretation, because as you probably know if you read tarot and know the general gist of things, is that cups tend to represent emotions. And I suppose one could look at skulls and think, oh, like this is where you think from, this is where you live, are embodied, and emotions are embodiment of human sentiment or whatever, I don't know. So I guess it could make sense that way, but to me a skull would be more thought and thinking and intellect, and that's more the swords suit. So matter of like personal interpretation, but the illustrations are still really beautiful. The 4 of Cups, you can see it's 4 skulls, and it doesn't really correspond to the meaning of the 4 of Cups, which would be emotional discontentment and dissatisfaction, or just like complacency. But again, if you know that meaning, you don't need the illustration to correspond to it. Rings. So again, instead of pentacles, she has rings. And this makes sense to me because, again, pentacles are earthly possessions, career, riches, home, health, things like that that are more material. So I suppose in that way rings do make sense. And you know what? Pentacles aren't necessarily a really modern wow. Pentacles aren't really a very modern symbol anyway. So rings do make a little more sense. And the illustrations are really gorgeous. So this is the 8 of rings, or the 8 of pentacles, and you can see where she has illustrated that. There are some cards that I don't love simply because of the like kind of mixed symbolism that I get from them. For example, this is the 10 of Cups, the 10 of Skulls, and you can see the nooses that are illustrated there. To me, when the 10 of Cups comes up in a reading, it's always like the happily ever after. It's the emotional fulfillment and completion of a situation. I definitely wouldn't get that from nooses. That says completion in a different way to me, but again, personal interpretation, and if you're not using the illustrations as a guide point anyway, I guess it doesn't really matter. As far as the court cards go, in this deck, the figures are skeletal. I definitely read with this deck for a couple people who were a little spooked by it. These were definitely people who'd never sat for a tarot reading before to begin with, but they were also at a goth party, so I don't know what they were expecting. I laid out all the cards and they were like, oh, they all look like death cards, and I'm like, this is just a dark deck. For example, the Queen of Swords, you can see, is a skeletal figure wielding a sword. King of Wands, for example, you have a skeletal figure wielding a marigold. The Knight of Rings, you have a skeletal figure kind of holding a ring. It's a very large ring. Almost looks like a horse's bridle or something. But you can get the idea of the theme of this deck. Here is the Queen of Cups. Really love this illustration, and in fact I posted it on my Instagram when I got the deck, because this like beautiful lotus blooming in this halo out of this skull is just such a gorgeous image. So let's look at some of the majors, and I will pull out like some of my favorite majors, which would be like, this is the moon, and I really love this version of the moon. It is this animal skull with the moon overhead and still like living ears. It looks to me like a cat or a wolf. It's something in that family. It's absolutely beautiful. I really love this. The devil. I also really like this version of the devil. The devil's one of those cards where I think in the Rider-Waite like world, it can be really intimidating to sitters to see like Satan with leashes on, you know, people, and it's kind of an icky looking card, and it can just be that strong Capricorn energy. So I do like that in this version it is two figures, one of which has like a radiant halo and the other is bound by a snake, and temptation is a big meaning for this card. In fact, when it comes up from my clients, more often than not, it means temptation or stagnation or imprisonment than it does much of anything else. This card, the Lovers, was printed as a sticker with the deck for Kickstarter backers. Definitely a standout card. I mean, really, really beautiful. I also love that you can't identify which figure is which. Are they both male? Are they both female? Is one male and one female? You can't tell. There's a strong secrecy to this card that I think often gets lost in some of the Rider-Waite symbolism, where it's two lovers with the sun shining overhead and possibly someone watching from the background or whatever like the illustration is. This has that kind of choose from the heart aspect to it. Strength. Strength is another iconic card. You always see the maiden or the youth prying open the mouth of the lion. Well, here you have someone confronting mortality, and ironically it is someone who has already probably confronted their mortality, confronting mortality. And this looks so much to me like Salome and John the Baptist, that beautiful Aubrey Beardsley illustration. I really, really love this pursuit of desire at all costs kind of like look. Justice. So Justice is another card that has this like sometimes double meaning for me and from my clients. Yes, it does mean what is right, what is good, what is honorable, but sometimes it refers to letting go and resting in my readings. Not saying that's everyone's readings, especially when it's reversed. When it's reversed, it almost always means rest. And this card definitely speaks to that for me. You can see the figure very stoically holding this scepter and just seemingly waiting. It's almost this like Mary vibe to it, like Mary awaiting the resurrection. Again, these are interpretations that I have that are not necessarily like canon, and they're not necessarily what the illustrator intended by them. Again, there is no little white book in this deck. You kind of have to know what you're doing, but I do believe I remember her saying that she was going to be writing some sort of guidebook for them. Oh, wait, one of my favorite new parts. So like one of the other like rewards on Kickstarter was a deck cloth specifically printed with the themes of the deck, and this is I think what I fell in love with even before she really showed a lot of the cards. Absolutely beautifully screen printed on just black cotton, but looks really durable, and I should steam it. I should have steamed it before I'm going to show this to you guys, but like look at how gorgeous this is. I'm just gonna hold it right in front of my face and hope you can see it all because I can't see in the viewfinder how much of it you can see. But you do have, oh, okay, cat hair now. You have the skulls, you have the sun in one point, and then you have the moon in another, the marigold dead center. It's so beautiful and so like delicately illustrated. I really love the art on this deck, and I really love her art in general, which is why I backed this on Kickstarter in the first place. It's beautiful, and if you're interested, definitely check out her art. Definitely check out and see if you can get on some list or something for like an Etsy notification, because God, this deck is so pretty. It's just so pretty. I mean, like, look, Two of Cups, which is one of my favorite all-time cards. It's so romantic and dreamy, and yet still has that memento mori, like, mortality to it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Amrit Brar did a fantastic job illustrating, and the printer did a pretty good job too, I think, minus all of the like stuff that's been going on with it. As far as, like I said, some people got duplicates, some people didn't get a full set, but that's not her fault. That would be the printer's fault. So nothing against her at all, and she's done a great job of making contact with everyone to make sure that their decks were a-okay. So thumbs up. I love this deck. This is definitely going to go into my regular rotation. I can't wait to use it more. Actually, right now I am taking appointments. If you want your cards read, I am running a special, $20 for around 15 minutes. You can hit my Instagram for more details. I'm also doing some astrology specials, so like super discounted natal and transit readings, which I will also put in the link down below to my Instagram so you can read more about that. I do plan on getting back to my tarot series and teaching you more about cards. I promise, I promise, I promise. As well as getting back to my illustrations and hopefully illustrating a deck of my own for all of you. And I have a bunch of amazing new things coming up, and I cannot wait to share. I just can't yet. But I will be getting back to the tarot series, as well as another installment of Witchy Book Club, more spellcraft videos, and continuing to update you on the natural healing and women's health journey that I've been on. I have playlists for all of my different kinds of videos if you go to my actual channel page, as well as Instagram, Facebook, you name it, I'm on it. Connect there with me. I would love to chat with you guys. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. I will see you next time.